Shalom again, everybody. Rabbi here. Wanted to ask you a question, an important one. I've been reading your comments on my recent video. Everybody knows what's going on in the world, and this is the big question here. And it really is a question for all of us, and it's going to boil down to this. Whose side are you on? Because if you look at the history of what's been going on in the world since, oh gosh, already a century and a quarter now, take into account World Wars One and Two, the post-war period, we're in a progressive movement towards destiny. I don't know what else to call it. In that respect, if you look at where we've been going as a society and what has been happening, our present state of conflict didn't just come out of nowhere. This has been building and simmering literally for decades. There is predominant, not just in Western civilization, but globally, a spirit, a movement of ungodlessness, unrighteousness, immorality. Now, we can look at this politically if you wish and start to talk about socialism, communism. If we wish, we could talk about it religiously and a fight between East versus West or secular versus religious or liberal versus conservative. All of these are superficial facades for what's really going on. And that is what we need to recognize. We're all being manipulated as pawns in a greater game. Now, don't go pointing your fingers at the Chinese or the Russians. They're just tools in this. They're puppets, just like the Nazis were. And of course, for all of you Jew haters out there, it's always the Jews. Yeah, okay. You know what? Just for the record, please, since biblical days, there have always been two kinds of Jews: God-fearing Jews and those who rebel against God. Two kinds. They've always been there. Since the days when the spies stood against Moses, throughout all the history of the first and second temple periods, you even see it echoed in the background of those records recorded in Christian history. All right, when they talk about the Jews going against Yeshu, who are these Jews? You think every single Jew in the empire, 15, 10 million, however many were there? No, it was the same minority in every single generation from then to present. In our literature, we call them the mixed multitude, the Erev Rav. They are hybrid souls. They are not fully human. And they come and cause such devastation and destruction to all humanity. And the first thing they do is point the finger. That's right. That's why we see today so many people being seduced by the spirit of Jew hatred and anti-Semitism. You could point at Israel. What do you think? Israel is pious and holy? Ha! You think the state of Israel, the modern Zionist state of Israel, is faithful to the Lord? Really? Okay. Go look at the founding documents. Go look at the culture and history. They are being used by God, no doubt about that. God uses everything. All right. When we say they're God's chosen, remember, the pieces on the chess set are also chosen and manipulated and used by the divine hand. Israel, as a Zionist secular nation today, fundamentally needs to repent, needs to get rid of all of its secular Western structures and values and become a nation under God, indivisible, living in accordance to the will and word of the Lord, in accordance to our laws. Is that going to happen? I wish. I certainly wish, because the one thing that's the most important for all of us is righteousness, morality, dignity, and decency. Those are the foundations of Torah, regardless of however they are echoed in all of our world religions. So remember this, the real enemy is the one who's behind it all, the one who is causing the strife, the division, the breakdown of righteousness, morality, dignity, and decency, and causing chaos and destruction. This has been a plan. It has been in effect for at least a century and a quarter. And in case you haven't guessed it yet, yeah, the forces behind this are beyond human. Now, the problem, of course, whenever I want to talk religiously, we talk about the forces of evil and all that, people turn to mythology. You turn to doctrine and to theology, and you don't recognize that what is happening in the revelations now in modern times about ET and extraterrestrials and all the rest of this stuff, and the ancient talk about the jinn, the shadim, the rohodr, it's all the same. We're just coming to a more scientific understanding of who the ancients have always been. And this is their plan. Why? Because as Isaiah 45, verse 7 says, it's by the hand of God. God creates all things. Isaiah 55, God's ways are higher than our ways. Don't ask me why God does what he does, but we are on the path towards the fulfillment of prophecy. The fulfillment of the prophecies of Ezekiel with regards to the wars of Gog and Magog. We see all the pieces starting to line up now. And here we are. We are days away from Judgment Day, Rosh Hashanah. And during this time, whatever decisions are going to be made in heaven are going to be made, and there will be implementation. We're in for a rough time here in the United States because those forces of evil, the godlessness, unrighteousness, immorality have permeated every element and aspect of this society, the educational institute, the political organization, everything, everywhere. And cleansing is going to be very difficult. But just like God sent his hand upon Israel in the days of the first temple and in the days of the second temple, God will place his hand upon this nation, the United States, that he had so ordained for the purpose of the greater good. So my message to you is real simple. Don't get involved in politics. Pretty, please. Stop this Jew hatred nonsense. All right? United we stand. Divided we fall. I know you want to point the finger and say, look at this one, look at that one. Those people who you're pointing to, they're not God-fearing, Bible-believing Jews. They're the enemy. Just like they've always been the enemy, like the Gapos in World War II, like those who stoned the prophets in the days of the first temple, and those who stood against Moses. Nothing new under the sun. Stop identifying them as Israel and Jews. Recognize with us who endeavor to serve the Lord, stay faithful to his name, stay faithful to his commandments. That is where we stand together. Do we have differences in doctrines and belief? Yes, so what? We do not hold that. If you don't have the same and right doctrine, then you're all going to spend eternity in hell. That's a Christian concept. So tell me, my dear Christians, all right, which one of you is the right church? Mormons? Any Protestant denomination? Catholic? Eastern Orthodox? Let's not forget to include Jehovah's Witnesses and all the rest. You guys are going to have to argue that out for yourselves. Because from our point of view, from the rabbinic point of view, and I might again remind you, the one who you believe to be the Son of God was, and he walked this earth, an Orthodox Jewish rabbi. Hey, kind of just like us. So yeah, when I read his words, I recognize the rabbinic teachings in them, just like he taught. See that as it may, I'm not interested in divisions. I'm interested in unity. Recognize we have a common enemy of unrighteousness, immorality, indecency, right? Look at what it's causing us. It's leading to out of control violence, out of control insanity. This is how the Lord hardens the hearts of the wicked before he brings judgment on them, just like he did with Pharaoh. That's happening now. All of you, we have to stand together as brothers and sisters, regardless of any superficial external differences. And we all think that some of us are going to go to hell more than the others. You know what? Let me just remind you, you and I don't make those judgments. God makes those judgments. And we get into the afterlife, we stand before the heavenly throne. God will decide who goes where. Not you, not me. So in the interim, meantime, let's stand together for righteousness, for morality, for decency, for dignity, and recognize who our common enemy is. And remember, united we stand, divided we fall. Think about that. Anyway, if you're interested in more, I think, yeah, maybe it's time to come back and try to share with you a little bit on YouTube from now on time to time. So I'm going to plan to do that. And if you want to come study with us, join our school, KosherTorah School. We're online. We're here for you. And again, let's make a difference in righteousness. God be willing. Thank you all. God's blessings. We'll talk again soon. Shalom.